So I thought it'd be good to kind of do like an overall video on everything that's currently wrong with this car and what I'm doing to fix it. A lot of this stuff on this car is getting changed if you know some of the mod plans that I plan on doing to it that I mentioned in some earlier videos. But for now, I wanted to go over some of the nagging issues that I've had with the car since I initially bought it, and some of the things that are just going to get fixed on their own just through the process of modifications, and other things that are going to take a little bit more figuring out to try to figure out what's causing the issue and what it's going to take to remedy the problem that it has. One thing I wanted to start out with is this horrible gap that I have in this fender. A lot of you have probably noticed it in the little intro part that I throw in at the beginning of the videos. Whether this is caused from the bumper not fitting correctly or the fender not being aligned, I haven't quite figured that out yet. That's something I plan on resolving during the winter months where I can get the fender pulled off. I did, one thing that I'm kind of leaning towards what the problem is, those of you that saw the earlier videos, I fixed the pinch wells on this. I didn't fix them, I'm still working on them. I just kind of got them to a point where they're better than what they were before for the time being. And this part up here underneath the fender was crushed pretty good on the pinch weld. What that will do is that will misalign your fender a little bit. And it's hard to tell on video, but if I run my hand, I catch a lip right here, which means this fender is pulled out this way because it's not flush with the door. Now, Foxbodies aren't known for their fit and finish at all, but as I run my finger up along the seam, that gap goes away, and right here it's even. Up here it's flush. This part is flush with the door, but it's not flush here. So I think this fender needs a lot of adjustment. Another issue is when I first got the car, the headlights don't work and the fog lights don't work. The headlight's not working. That is coming up in a later video. I did figure out what the problem was and I did resolve it. You're probably not going to be able to guess what the issue actually was that took me to fix it, but I'll get into that more in the other video that goes more in depth on what I actually did to fix this problem. Another issue I have as well is that the fog lights do not work. Kind of the same issue with the headlights, but when I fixed the headlight issue, it didn't resolve the fog light issue. But I don't plan on running fog lights on this anyway, because when I put on the On3 turbo kit later on down the road, that turbo kit will not fit with fog lights. The piping runs too close to the back of the bumper and it's just not going to work. So I'm just going to run the Savini stalker bumper when that goes on, just open on the fog light area instead of running fog lights on it, because they're not going to work anyway. And even if they did, I was thinking about not running them anyway, so not really a big deal. Another issue I've had with this car is the trunk latching correctly. It unlocks fine, but the problem is with closing, I really have to slam the hatch harder than I would like to get this thing to latch. And I suspect that it's the latch, in here by the lock, that's the issue. I've been spraying it sporadically with WD-40, trying to get it to loosen up a little bit, but so far it hasn't really gotten to the point where I can easily close the hatch, so I open it as little as possible because I don't like slamming it as hard as I have to get it to latch. So maybe it will loosen up with the WD-40. If I keep hitting it with that, maybe it won't. I don't really know at this point, but that's something I'll figure out later on as well. Another issue this car has, which I didn't find out until I went to fill this up one day, is I was at the gas pump, filled it up completely, and as soon as the tank got full, it started pouring gas out the bottom, which means that the filler neck grommet is pretty much bad. So I already have a whole new filler neck assembly. I decided that what I wanted to do was not just replace the grommet, I wanted to replace the entire assembly, because I plan on buying the LMR SVE fuel system kit for this. I want to put that on when the engine is out before the new engine goes in. So I'm going to have to drop the tank anyway to do that. So I might as well just replace everything. Instead of just a grommet, it's a whole new filler neck, and everything that, you know, from basically from the cap all the way to where it connects to the tank is all new parts that's going to put on, so I don't have to worry about anything leaking, and the tanks are going to be down, so it's just easier to do it all at that point. I haven't showed a whole lot on the interior of this yet, but those of you that saw the video on all the pieces that are going in over the winter, this is what's being replaced. The center console, that armrest, this dash pad, and I'll be getting black door panels as well. But while we're here on the inside, what doesn't work in here, the speakers don't work for the radio. It does turn on, but there's no sound, all I get is static, so I'm not sure what the actual issue is. I planned on pretty much replacing the entire speaker system with a new head unit, and these gauges down here don't work. This one is a fuel pressure gauge, but I have fuel pressure on the Terminator X up there, so I don't necessarily need the fuel pressure gauge down here. I'm not sure what these two are here. They're supposed to light up and they don't, and it's really hard to see what it actually is because it's smoked out. One other issue that I'm not really worried about, because I don't plan on running these gauges anyway, I'm going to change this whole area and how it looks. One thing that a lot of people have mentioned about this car, just from pictures I've posted online and, you know, a few comments in the videos and stuff, is how much they like the Calypso paint. And I don't dislike Calypso, but this is not a good paint job on this car. It's just, the quality of it is not very good. There's like dull spots here. I don't know if you can see it in video. It's kind of like a spot right in here where it's really dull. You can notice it. I've noticed it up here around the antenna. It probably won't show up in video because of the lighting. And when I run my fingers like through the lettering, I don't know if you can hear that. Hear that popping noise? That's the paint just separating. It's just not a good quality paint job. And it's like it's splintered right here. It's all cracked and like spider cracked. When I was talking about the pinch welds earlier, it's got a huge chip down here. It's got a chip up there. There's all kinds of imperfections within the paint. And the other issue with the paint too, and you would look at, you know, those few minor things and be like, that's a big deal, why are you worried about that? The biggest issue I have with this is that this car is not cleared. I'm not sure how it looks in video. I do record these videos in 4K now, but there's no shine to this paint. It may look shiny in video, but there's like no clear coat on this. This is like the straight painted on base coat with no clear put on it, and it just doesn't shine and pop like I really want it to. And one of the criteria for when I went to buy a Foxbody was I wanted something that didn't have really nice factory paint, because I wanted to paint a car a unique color that's different from everything else, and I didn't want to be stripping away good OEM factory paint in order to do that. So the fact that this has a little bit rougher paint on it is actually a good thing, because I'm not destroying good factory paint. So these are pretty much all the major issues that I know about the car. Once I get into it more and taking things apart, I may find more. And as I've said before, this car is very, very rust free. I'll see if I can get... It's going to be really tough to see, guys. I may not be able to show this until I get the engine out, but I was trying to get down there in the frame rail. There's like no rust down there, and this one's really hard to see because of where the headers are right up against the strut tower, but there's no rust on this. There's no rust, you know, down here in this area. It's very, very clean car, but that doesn't mean that when I pull these fenders off to get them to be realigned and fit correctly that I won't find anything. The door jamb area, like up in here, there's like a little bit of surface rust right there, but that's really nothing. There's no rust along the bottom part of this door. Like all the usual suspect parts for where you find a lot of rust on these cars, it just doesn't have it. But like I said, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to, you know, potentially find something when I start taking body parts off. But that's kind of a wait and see moment, and that's something I'll have to update everyone on when I get to that point as far as the build process on the car. But that'll pretty much cover everything on this video. I just kind of wanted to give an overview of everything that was currently wrong with it and things that, what it's going to take for me to fix it, as far as through mods that I plan on doing, or if it's stuff I'm going to have to figure out, like the fitment of the fenders, stuff like that. If you did like the video, make sure to leave it a like. And if you want to see everything going on with this Foxbody for the mods and everything going on with it, make sure to sub, because there's a lot of plans and a lot of stuff happening for the winter months going forward, and there's so much stuff to do. I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around where to start, but I guess I'm going to have to start somewhere at some point. But that will cover everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Above all else, everyone, thanks for watching.